Hello and welcome to the fifth tutorial in this series where I'm gonna explain the waypoints. And a waypoint simply tells a player or an AI unit, non-playable character, what to do. So select waypoints or simply press F4 and then click on the player to designate that we want to place waypoints for this unit, and then double click somewhere on the road in front of him. Apparently I got to synchronize. Make sure waypoints are selected and then double click somewhere in front of the player on the road, and this will bring up the insert waypoint dialog. For now we're just gonna leave the settings by default, so a move waypoint and click OK, and this places a waypoint, and we can place another by double clicking somewhere else, also a move and then OK, and again somewhere else and click OK. So now we've placed 3 waypoints. So this will tell the player to move here, and then when he reaches this waypoint he will be informed to move here, and so on. So if we click preview, we get this waypoint in front of us, 32 meters in front. That says move. So if we move there, then we'll get told to move to the second waypoint. And now we are under fire, but we'll move to the last waypoint, and that's it. Now, let's say that you want to place, let's say that you've deselected everything, which you can do by clicking on the ground. Then if you want to place another waypoint for this unit, you select him, and then you can start placing new waypoints for that unit. Or instead you can simply click, so select either of his existing waypoints, and again you can continue to place waypoints. If nothing at all is selected and you try to place a waypoint, you will place a waypoint for the last unit that you placed a waypoint for. But let's delete this last one, and this brings us to the next field, or the next setting, which is the Waypoint Order. I'm going to come back to all the types in a moment, but I'm just going to go through these first. So this one just simply specifies which order the waypoint should appear in. So for example, let's say that after this waypoint, instead of the player going up here and then here, we want the player to go from here and then to here and then up here. Then one way would be to simply move these around, right? But another simpler way is to simply select one of the units, for example the last one, double click it, and then change its order to one previous, so that's 1, and then the other unit will automatically be reordered to have 2, which we had before. But change this to 1, and this unit, this waypoint will come before this one. But let's change this back. So double click it again. Remember to have waypoint selected to bring up the edit waypoint dialog, and then change the order back to the last one, 3, and click OK. Okay, so let's delete these 2 waypoints, which of course you can do by hovering the mouse on the waypoints and pressing delete, or select both of them by dragging a rectangle and then shift delete. And then double click on the first waypoint, and that brings us to the description field, which simply changes the text that appears next to the waypoint. So instead of the move text, we can type something else like get to the enemy camp, and click OK. And let's just move the waypoint a bit closer to the player and click preview, and the text has been changed from move to get to the enemy camp. Go back into the editor and then double click the waypoint, and these 4 drop downs I'm gonna come back to later, because these are mostly for the AIs. However, actually let me explain these 2 first ones. The combat mode, because this also works for the player, like if you set this to hold fire, the player will also have the player and all his group members will have this hold fire status when you look in the unit list at the bottom of the screen. And if you set the formation on the first waypoint, the player group will actually spawn in that formation. But let's leave these on no change for now, and I'll come back to all these in a moment. Placement radius works exactly like in the insert units dialog. So basically, if this is 0, the waypoint will spawn exactly where you placed it. But if you change it to like 50, then the waypoint, when the mission starts, will be placed at a random position within 50 meters of where you placed it. But let's leave that on 0. Then we've got the completion radius, and this is how close the unit must be to the waypoint to complete it. So by default it's 0, so that means that you must move exactly to the waypoint to complete it. But let's say that you just want players to be approximately where the waypoint is. You could change this to 50 or whatever, and they just have to get within 50 meters of it to complete it. Let's set this to 0. Then we've got the timeout, which has a bad name because it sounds like the timeout in the units dialog, but it's not. It actually behaves like the countdown feature in the units dialog. So if you set this to 5, all of them, of course you can make it randomized a bit by specifying different values, just like in the insert dialog, insert unit dialog. But let's just put this to 5. So basically, when the unit gets to the waypoint, before it completes, the game will wait 5 seconds. But we're just going to leave this to 0 for now. And then we've got the condition field, which must also be true before the waypoint can be completed. So let's say that when the player gets to the waypoint, you also want some other unit to be dead before the waypoint completes. So you could type, let's say that you name some unit blah. Let's just say blah. Yeah. Then you could say not alive blah, and so when the player reaches this waypoint, it'll turn into a wait waypoint until this condition has been met. So basically it'll continue to be a wait waypoint until that blah is not alive. But this is not a scripting tutorial, so just leave this to true. And on activation, this is just some scripting statements that you want to execute when the waypoint has completed. And then the last field is only used with the scripted type, which basically means that you can type in a name of a script here, and then that script should handle the completion of the waypoint. But again, I'm not going to go into scripting in this tutorial. Then we've got the last setting down here, which is whether to show the waypoint on the map in the game. So by default it's set to never show, but if you put it to show in cadet mode or always show, it'll show up on the map. And cadet mode are the easy difficulties. So if you choose this one, then if people are playing on easy and they open up the map, they will see the waypoint on the map. But I never use that. I always have it to never show. And I believe that's it. There's actually this effects button, and I believe it's in the triggers as well, where you can just make like music play or something when the waypoint has been reached. Or if you change the type to text, and then you can type some text here that will be shown on the screen when the waypoint has completed. And I'm not going to go through these because they're pretty self-explanatory and I never use them. So if I really want to play some music or something, I do it all through scripting. But anyway, let me just go through these ones here. The plane will show the message exactly in the center of the screen. The bottom will show it at the bottom like a subtitle. The black will make the screen fade to black and then show the text in white in the center of the screen. And black faded is the same as a black, but instead of fading to black, it will be instantly black. And then we've got the blackout, which actually I think it does pretty much the same as black. Maybe it doesn't last as long, but basically this will also black out the screen. And black in will then it will start at being black just like the faded, but it'll fade in immediately. And the same for the white out and white in. And playing without fading, the normal plain one will make the text fade in the center of the screen. This one will just make it instant. So that's basically it. So I'm just going to turn this back to none and actually just hit cancel. And then there's actually a field that you cannot see right now because it's a special field that's only available when you attach a waypoint to a building. So if we click OK and then make sure that either the unit or the waypoint is selected, so we can place another waypoint, and then hover the cursor or the mouse over a building. So when it says house, double click it, and as you can see, there's no field, so this house doesn't have that. So just cancel and then click on the tower instead, because this one definitely has that field. There we go, position in house, because each building has predefined positions. Like if you have like this tower, then one position could be at the bottom of the tower and another position could be on top of the tower. Then you could specify one of these positions instead of just the building itself. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that so you know about it. And then next I'm going to go through these 4 fields right here. But I'm going to do that on the AI group, so just cancel this one and yeah. Then go to the enemy group and select the leader, and while waypoints are selected, double click somewhere on the map and just make it a move waypoint, and then I'm gonna show you these ones. So combat mode are just, whether to open fire or not open fire, and all these modes defines what they should do, how they should behave while moving to that waypoint. So for example, we can tell them to never fire or just hold fire. The difference between never fire and hold fire is that hold fire, they will just not open fire unless they're in danger. So for example, if they're being attacked, they will still open fire to defend themselves. If you choose never fire, they won't fire under any circumstances, not even if their life depends on it. And actually, let's just select this one. And the formation is the formation that they should move in while getting to the waypoint. And we're just going to select the column compact. And then we've got the speed, which has limited, normal, and full. Limited means that they'll walk or go prone or whatever, but they'll move slowly. So this normally this is walking. And then we've got normal, which in which they'll run, but they'll stick to their formations. And full is the same as normal, except that they will break the formation, to get there faster. So they won't try to keep information. Let's just put this to limited. And then we've got the behavior, which you probably know. You can order your units into these behaviors, like safe is at ease, and then we've got aware, and combat is danger, and stealth is just stealth. And then there is a special one right here which you cannot order your units into. Let's say that you have a helicopter that you want to move from point A to point B. Then if you've selected one of these other modes, then if that helicopter encounters enemies on the way, he will stop and he will engage these enemies until they're dead or until he's dead. So you can use the careless mode to rectify that. So basically this will make him not care about anything. He won't care if he's fired upon or whatever. He'll just continue from point A to point B. So this is great for transports, etc. Let's just put this to safe, and these settings together will pretty much make them, walk to the waypoint in this casual way. And I believe that's it. Yes, so let's go through the types. Let's just click OK to this one, and then place another waypoint, just like here. And let me go through the types. Some of the types I will have to wait with until the next tutorial, because they require synchronization. Well, they don't require, but for what we want to do, we'll have to use synchronization. And I'll come back to that in one of the later parts. Well, actually, the next part. Anyways, the next one is destroy, and well, actually, we'll just click cancel and then go to units and then place a blue 4 man, so they can destroy him. And then, again, to continue placing waypoints for a unit, either click the unit itself or click the waypoint that belongs to him, and then go to waypoints and double click on the rifleman that we want them to destroy, and select destroy type and OK. So they'll move to this waypoint, and then they'll destroy this guy, and this waypoint will complete not when they move to it, but when the unit that we've put it on has been destroyed or killed in this case. And now, before I forget, these you can see they are all set to no change. So if you don't set them explicitly to one of these, then they'll inherit the ones that you defined in the previous waypoint. So yeah. So actually we want them to open fire, because we set them to never fire on the previous one, so they won't ever fire. So we want them to open fire, and then change perhaps the formation to align, and speed to full, and behavior to aware, maybe combat, but I'm just gonna leave it on aware. And then click OK, and then place another waypoint by the player, a move waypoint. And now they will obviously attack the player as well, so for testing purposes, click units and then double click on the player, and then in the init field type this space set captive, and when you see the tip, you can simply press tab to complete it, and then space and then true. So this space set captive space true, and it is not case sensitive, so as long as you've got the spelling right, it should work. And click OK. This will simply make enemies not attack this unit. And then actually, let's move the player closest so it's easier to see. Maybe rotate him a bit. And that's good for now. Okay, so they'll move to the first waypoint. Hopefully he won't spot them and open fire, which he does. And of course, because they're set to never fire, they won't fire back. So we are just gonna place them really, really close to this move waypoint, so they'll get there instantly and, open fire. Okay, so now he's dead, and the destroy waypoint has been completed. So now they'll move to the next waypoint once they've cleared this area. Okay, so we just fast forward a bit. and there you go. Okay, so now they've moved to the last waypoint. Let's go back into the editor and let's remove these 2 waypoints and the unit that we created, and let's see what the next type is. Go back to waypoints, and the next type is get in. Okay, so for this we'll actually need a vehicle, so go to units, double click somewhere on the map, change the site to empty, and the class to cars, and the unit to maybe just a Humvee, and that's okay. So okay, and let's just make the enemy units get into this vehicle and maybe place the player a bit closer so we can see what's going on. Oops. And then click on the unit or the waypoint, and then go to the waypoints edit mode, double click the vehicle and change the type to get in, and click OK, and then preview. Let's fast forward a bit, and they'll get in. And the last one won't get in because it's a 4-man vehicle. So anyways, that's a get in waypoint, and obviously it'll complete when they've gotten into the vehicle. And what's the next one? Oops. Next one is seek and destroy. I'm not going to show that. This will basically just make them seek, search and destroy for enemies around the waypoint. But we've got the join and lead, and this will basically make the units join another group. So for example, if we just remove the get in waypoint, so hover the mouse over the waypoint and press delete, then click on the waypoint so we can place another, and then double click on the player. I know he's a different team, but they should still be able to join this group. And then select the type and select the type join and press OK, and they should move to him and join our group. Let's just fast forward.
All. Follow. 1. All. Stop. 12 o'clock. Enemy man and machine gun 50 meters. 2. Report status.
Жду. Первый. Не стрелять, мать твою. Жду.
2. Is down.
Okay, so that worked. And the other one, the join and lead, does exactly the same as join, but instead, this unit, the leader of the group will become the leader of the group that he's joining. So now I will become a member of that group instead of their leader.
Первый. Прекратить огонь. Первый. Движение к 6.
I will only tell you my name, rank, and serial number.
Okay, so that's the join and lead. Then we've got the get out waypoint, so cancel and then delete the join and lead waypoint, and click the waypoint so we can place new waypoints. Double click on the Humvee, change it to get in, press OK, then place a move waypoint further down the road, and then perhaps make a get out waypoint over here. Get out. So they'll get into the vehicle, then go to this position, and then go here and get out. And if I'm lucky, I can get in the vehicle as well.
Третий. Автомобиль.
And then they will drive to the next waypoint. And get out. And that's basically it. And what's the next one? The next one is cycle. Okay, so cycle will just repeat all the waypoints again. Oops, get out. And then a new waypoint, make it cycle. click OK. So they will get into the vehicle, move somewhere, get out, and then they will repeat all the waypoints again. Let's just try that.
Движение к западу.
Fast forward, perhaps.
Третий.
Oh, wait, just a second. Oh, actually, I think it's because we haven't placed it close enough. So move it. Yeah. Okay. So when you see this line being drawn, this is where you know, it'll repeat from. So just put the cycle waypoint here. So basically, they should move to this point, get in the vehicle, drive here, then drive here and get out, then move to the vehicle and get in.
Движение к западу.
Let's just fast forward again. So they'll drive here and then there and get out, and then they should get back in, and then drive to where they already are and get out, and get back in and out and back in. Yes. Okay, good. Of course, we could also make them move back here by moving a bit closer to the first waypoint, and then they'll move there, get into the vehicle, move there, move here and get out, and then move back to this waypoint and then get in. But just keep in mind they won't move to the cycle waypoint. The cycle waypoint just tells them to start over, so when they get to this, they'll jump directly to this waypoint. Of course, we could also just make them move forth and back once they get out. So if we place this a bit closer to the center of the road, they should get out and hopefully walk forth and back between the get out waypoint and the first move waypoint. Because I believe if they're not in a vehicle, the get out waypoint will just move simply like a move waypoint. Or perhaps it won't do anything. We'll see. Get out. They move to the other side of the road and get back into the. Oh yeah, of course they're not getting in. They're just moving forth and back, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, good. So that's the cycle waypoint. Let's remove all these again, except for the first one. But click it, go to waypoints and double click. And the next one is load and unload. So for this they'll actually need to be in a vehicle, so let's double click the vehicle again and make a get in waypoint. And let's create another enemy unit further down the road, so click units, double click, and then up 4, man, just a rifleman, that's perfect. And as you can see, he was automatically grouped to this unit. We don't want that, so go to the groups mode, drag from the unit that we want to ungroup, and then just drag to nothing. And then this waypoint, the team leader, we want to add some more waypoints, which is a load waypoint. So double click on this unit and select load and OK. And this unit, as you can see, we want to select the unit, this unit, but there's a waypoint on top, so we can only select the waypoint. However, you can select the underlying unit by holding down shift, and then you can see it changes to rifleman. So hold down shift and then click to select him, and then we want to give him a waypoint, which is get in. And again, as you can see, we want to create the waypoint on the vehicle, but there's a waypoint on top of it, so we can't select the vehicle. So again, hold down shift and then double click the vehicle and select the get in waypoint and click OK. So this unit will get into this, and these units, when they've gotten into the vehicle, they'll go here and they'll load this unit, which basically means that they will wait for him to get in. Well, he will actually start by running to the vehicle and also try to get in before they reach him. Hopefully he won't. You can prevent that, but we'll come back to that, and hopefully this should work. Okay, he's too close. Let me just move him, so hold down shift to select him, and then start dragging him while holding shift, and then release shift, and then you can move him. So let's move him all the way back here, and then obviously I want to get into the vehicle so we can follow the action. And there he is, so they should now wait for him to get in. Or that's what I had hoped. Okay, that should have worked. It may be a bug with the beta, but basically a load waypoint should make the unit wait for that unit to get into their current vehicle. So I mean, that should work. You can try it out yourself for in your own game and see if it works. If not, I mean, it's probably a bug in the latest version. Then we've got the I'm just going to skip it for now. And then we've got the unload and transport unload. So let's actually delete this unit and this rifleman, and yeah, let's click the get in waypoint, select waypoints, and then make him. Oops, we can't. You can't. Like I said, that if you want to create additional waypoints for a unit, you either click the unit or a waypoint that he owns, which is partially true. However, you cannot do it on waypoints that are attached to objects or buildings. So, for example, you can't click on this and then double click somewhere; it doesn't work. So you have to click a waypoint or the unit that is not attached to anything, and then make it an unload waypoint. And as far as I know, I haven't used these a lot. I basically use get out and unload transport, but if I recall correctly, the unload type will make the group that belongs to the leader jump out. Let's just try it out. Yeah, so as you can see, only the group members, but not the leader himself, got out. So he just unloads his own group. Now, had he been transferring someone that didn't belong to his group, you would have to use the unload, the transport unload waypoint, which would just make him wait for people in the vehicle to get out. So that's the difference. And then we've got the whole waypoint, which will just when they get to the waypoint, they'll just wait forever. And you can get out of them. You can make them move on, but for that we'll need to use synchronize and triggers, and I'll get back to that in the next part. So for now, we're just gonna skip the whole waypoint, and the same. You can do the same for a cycle, but we're also gonna come back to that. Then we've got the guard waypoint, so just click OK, and remove the get in waypoint and just put the guard waypoint somewhere around here, and then we're gonna have to use a trigger. So click triggers and then double click anywhere on the map, and for this the axes doesn't matter, so when axes don't matter, I just put them to 0, so you don't get this circle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the type to guarded by up 4, and this is a special trigger that simply marks a point for which a team is supposed to guard. So click OK, and then place it like in the base, and then perhaps place the guard waypoint a bit closer. So what will happen is that when they get to this waypoint, they will go and guard the closest guarded by trigger. So let's place the player closest to this. Perhaps I should make them run. Actually, let's make them move into the vehicle anyway. So just select waypoints, double click the vehicle, make it get in, change the order to the one after move, so that's this one, and click OK. And then perhaps just for good measure, add a move waypoint here, which should replace the guard one. Click OK, so the guard is last, and move the guard waypoint further inside. So they'll get in, move here, and then guard this point. Actually, change this to a get out, like so. Okay, and remember, they won't guard the position where the waypoint is. They will guard the closest, highest priority guard point, which is defined by this trigger. And then click preview, and they should get in. Let's fast forward. They're getting out, and then they'll move to that waypoint. And then they will go to the closest guarded trigger, guarded by trigger, and then they will guard that position. And then once the area is clear of enemies, they'll move on to the next waypoint, if I recall correctly. So that's the guard waypoint, and let's see what the next waypoint is. It's the talk waypoint. This will make the leader say something, which you actually specify under effects, if I recall correctly. So you can set the voice here. Let's just I don't know if there's weird things to say. There's not a lot of things here. I usually use scripting for this. But let's say you selected a voice here and you have the type set to talk, then the leader would say the voice you specified. As far as I know, the unit won't actually move to a talk waypoint. They'll just say it and then move on to the next waypoint immediately. Actually, I think I skipped the sentry waypoint. The sentry waypoint, I think it's if I recall correctly, it's when they get to that waypoint, the sentry waypoint, they will remain there and then wait until they spot an enemy, and then they'll move on to the next waypoint, and obviously they'll start to attack him as well. But basically, they'll just wait until they identify an enemy and then move on. Talk. And the scripted one I talked about, that'll execute the script in this field, and that script should handle when the waypoint is completed. But like I said, I'm not going to go through scripting in this one, so I'm going to skip it. The support waypoint, this will make AI units, when they get to this point, they will be able to provide support. So for example, let's click cancel and then move the rifleman, our player unit, down here, and then place another friendly unit. So select units, so press F1, double click on the map, and then blue 4 and US, and then go to the support class and select just a Humvee, the ambulance. Click OK, and then ungroup it, so groups, and drag from the unit to nothing, and then go back into Waypoints, double click somewhere in front of it. Oops, wait, it should work. Okay, there we go. And then select the support waypoint and just move it as close to the vehicle as you can. So basically this will make the unit reach that waypoint immediately, and when he reaches that waypoint he will be able to provide support. So if I just create another unit, I'm just going to select this unit and press Ctrl C and then Ctrl V to copy him, and then groups and group into the player, because you cannot request support without being more than one in a group, and then press preview. And then if we look at the support unit, he will just stand there, but he's now providing support. So what we can do is press 5, then 1, which is called support, and then we can request a medic or an ambulance. Of course we can't request a repair or rearm or refuel truck because we haven't added those to the map, but we've made an ambulance, so we can request the first 2. So I'm just going to request an ambulance.
Requesting support to 02550, over.
Oscar Mike.
And he will actually get into the vehicle and then come to us and provide you know, healthcare, whatever. Ready. And then when you're done you can just press the same, but instead of requesting one you can just press done.
Ready.
And you can move on. So that's what the support waypoint is about. So you can't call support unless a unit has reached a support waypoint. Anyways, next waypoint, let me just see what that is. Getting nearest. This is pretty self-explanatory. So let's turn the ambulance, so select unit, into a regular soldier, and then steal this guy's Humvee. So I just deleted the waypoint by hovering the mouse on it and pressing delete, and then turn this waypoint into a get into nearest, like this, and you know, this will just make him get into the nearest vehicle. Pretty self-explanatory. There we go. So that's the get into nearest waypoint. And then the last waypoint, I believe. Yeah, it's a dismissed waypoint, which will just I mean, when they reach this waypoint, they will just I mean, they will just start to move away from each other and maybe sit down and stuff like that. And this waypoint ends if they're engaged by enemies. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the waypoint types. I believe I didn't miss anyone. But obviously there's a lot more stuff you can do, but we'll have to use synchronization for that, and I'll come back to that in the next tutorial. By the way, about the getting nearest, they will look for a vehicle, an empty vehicle, within 50 meters. If they can't find a vehicle, they will just continue to the next waypoint. So anyway, let's just prepare this this mission for the next part. So delete this unit and the vehicle, and delete the second unit in our group. Then make sure the units are selected and double click on the player, and remove the text in the init field. Click OK, and then move him closer to the base of the camp. Maybe turn him around so he faces the road. And then just remove these 2 waypoints and the guarded by trigger. And I'm running out of disk space now, so I will see you in the next tutorial.